Madam Deputy Speaker, a restriction on the right to protest that targets noise strikes at the very heart of why people gather together to protest, to have their voices heard about an issue that's important to them and which they want other people to treat with importance. And we noted in committee that the larger and more well-supported a demonstration is, the louder it's likely to be. So restrictions on noise could disproportionately impact the demonstrations that have the greatest public backing. And much of the written and oral evidence we received emphasised the centrality of noise to effective protest. For example, Liberty and Big Brother Watch highlighted that protests by their very nature are noisy, and noise is a crucial means of expressing collective solidarity or grief, and quite literally making voices heard by those in power. And this was echoed in oral evidence by Zehra Hassan, Director of the Black Protest Legal Support, who said that creating noise at a protest is quite literally a part of people making their voices heard. And another witness said to us, this new trigger, which is noise, is an absolute affront to the right to protest. The noise trigger should not exist for the purposes of imposing any conditions on assemblies and processions. It's essentially an existential threat to the right to protest. And that's just a flavour of the evidence that we heard. Now, the Minister's referred to the European Convention on Human Rights, but it's intended, Minister, to provide rights that are practical and effective, not theoretical and illusory. And if the police have discretion to shut down protests because they're noisy, then the right to protest will become theoretical and illusory in England and Wales. Thankfully, these laws are not going to apply in Scotland, but as my honourable friend said, many Scots come to London to protest and will be affected by these laws. Now, I want to emphasise, because this was made clear to the Joint Committee on Human Rights, that neither the police nor Her Majesty's Inspectorate of Constabulary and Fire and Rescue Services requested this noise trigger. They may have requested other changes, but they didn't request this. And as even honourable members of opposite have said, it is a fundamental threat to the right of freedom of speech and the right of assembly in this country. And as the JCHR said in our report, it shouldn't be in this bill and it should go.